Dreams. We all have them, we all know what they're all about, and yet sometimes we just doesn't seem to make any sense, or what seems to not make any sense. No matter how crazy it might seem, it always does seem to make sense. But what happens when the times when the dreams they come into our visions at night and they're constant? Not only are they constant, but they always seem to tell you something. And it's always up to us to find out what exactly that is. Take, for instance, my grandfather. He passed away back in 2005. And ever since then, I felt like there's a small part of me that turned into a bigger thing in time, and it just went on and on and on and on, and I missed him more and more. Funny thing is, that old man, he always did have a sense of humor. Every once in a while, he'd come back to me in a dream and say to me, "You just don't get it, do you? The more you complain that I'm not around no more, the more I'm going to show up and tell you I'm okay." He always did the same thing. He always showed me he could walk. He always showed me that he was fine. The funny thing is about dreams is you can never really find out. You never really put your finger on exactly what it is. It's always up to us to figure out what that message is. Just make sure we got to be smart enough to listen. There's another dream I have. This one makes more sense. I'm always going to these big dart tournaments in these dreams. I'm always on stage, whether it's in the PDC, the BDO, some little pub somewhere. It's always a 1980s, early 90s, dingy type lit pub and tournament. But the problem is, every single time I go to play, the dartboards are either way up there, over there, behind my back. I say it in the middle of and I gotta play against 4 or 5 different people at a time. Then when I go to get my darts out, and next thing you know, I can't put them together. I can't get them right. I lost my flight, lost my shaft, can't play. That dream means I got a lot way to go. So the question is, when you keep having these dreams, what is it going to cost for you? How long is it going to take you to get there? Are you willing to go that far? Makes a lot of sense to me. There's a third dream I constantly have. I'm still trying to figure this one out. I spent some time in a mental rehab facility here in town when I was going through a real bad mental breakdown. And keep in mind, when I was in there, I was on lockdown, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. Felt like I was kind of in a prison more than I was in a hospital. And the dream I constantly have is that here's the fact. I'm going in to sign myself into the hospital. Turns out it's more than just a hospital. Turns out it's a hospital/prison. And two things usually happen. One, I usually get put into a room and a bed with a bunch of other people in their own beds, and we're just shooting the breeze, whatever the case may be, and they're asking each other, what are we in for? One was mental murder, the other one is psychological assault. And sometimes I'll have a really interesting part one. I'll have my own room, my own bed, and I'll be lying in bed wondering, how the hell did I get here? Next thing you know, a woman. A beautiful girl who I never met before in my life. Sometimes she'll have blonde hair, blue eyes. Sometimes she'll have black hair and green eyes. But it's a woman I never met. It's one I just made up my entire imagination. My dream woman. Maybe. Then all of a sudden, when I ask who are you and what are you doing here, she kisses me and we make love on the bed. You see, that's the kind of dream that you really want to think about. You got to think about these things, but you got to realize that our mind is connected with a higher power. And when we stop to think about these dreams that we have, whether it's funny, whether it's scary, whether it's sad, we need to worry about these things. We need to actually stop and think, maybe my life is not as bad as what I thought it was, or maybe my life is not as challenging as what I thought it would be. Maybe I should go out and do something. Maybe I should see if make these dreams come true. Maybe I'm wondering what the heck this is all about. The fact is, when you go to sleep at night, don't go worrying about dreaming. Because just like good writing, dreaming doesn't require thinking. The thinking always comes later.